and welcome to Study Club. We have a great program for you this evening. The topic is, can you afford to take dental insurance? How do you evaluate dental insurance, whether it's going to work? And with us this evening, we have none other than our head instructor, content extraordinaire, Larry Gazzardo.
So you're ready for me, is that what it is?
That's right.
Thank you. Thanks. Hey, this is a good topic to come up, particularly this time of the year, because so many people are evaluating whether they should continue to take insurance or not. So I want to be clear about one thing before we get started, is that I am not proposing that you just drop all of your insurance. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to decide how much insurance you can afford to participate with. And so I have some simple formulas that you can use right away to determine whether this is something that's going to work for you or not. And then you can decide from there. So I do want to be very clear that I'm not saying, hey, tomorrow or beginning of the year, just dump all your insurance. I am not saying that at all. I think some insurance does work, and we don't have a problem with it. But everybody knows there are some plans out there that are just like complete dogs. And I think you know what I mean. Particularly if you're the person who posts those EOBs, you know what I'm talking about. There's just some plans out there that you just can't make money on them. And because you can't make any money on it, all it does is it ramps up your busyness, and it keeps you from doing the kind of dentistry that you want to do. And so it just creates this big vicious cycle for you. So what I want to be able to show you is how do you know whether you can afford a plan or not? There's a lot more complicated ways that you can do this, but I don't want to make it hard. I want it to be something that you know that you can do. And so I'm going to make it very, very simple for you. So there's 3 pieces of information that you have to have in order to determine whether you can afford insurance or not. And one of those key monitors is your productivity per hour. The next one is your operating overhead, which I'm really going to focus on this evening, and then your collection percentage. Those things are really, really important that you know what that information is. So going on from there, let's see now, something happened and I cannot advance my slide. So you guys, what do you think I did that my slide won't advance? Let me turn this off. People can see you. Okay. Well,
click on the slide. See if now hit the next button. There you go.
Okay.
And hide the mouse to the side.
All right, hide the mouse over there. Okay, and if I do that, okay. All right, gang, we're just going to briefly go over this real quick. All right, thank you for your patience there. There's 3 key monitors that everybody needs to be aware of that can help you determine, whether you can afford to take insurance or not. Number 1, that's productivity per hour. The second one is your operating overhead, which I'm going to focus on this evening. And then the third one is your collection percentage. Those are 3 key indicators that everybody should be very, very keenly aware of. So when you're calculating your operating overhead, we divide expenses in dentistry into two categories. The first one is what we call major expenses. And major expenses are the 5 or 6 items that comprise about 50% of your overhead. And what I mean by that are the ones that I'm sure you've already guessed. It's your laboratory fees, your dental supplies, your staff salaries, your payroll taxes, your occupancy expense, and your fringe benefits. Those expenses right there are going to comprise about 50% of your expenses every month. Everything else falls into a category that we call general expenses, and that's going to be things like postage fees and office supplies and bank service charges, little miscellaneous taxes, that you might have to pay, workers' comp insurance, things like that. Just a bunch of little expenses, but when you add them all up, they're going to come to about 10% of your expenses every month. So combine together your major expenses with your general expenses. That's going to create your total operating overhead, and that's 60%.